Get in there, Oxford fans. It was torturous. It was horrible. But we're in the playoffs. Hello everybody and welcome back to OUFC Fan View. And what a glorious day it is. It's time for the final day of the regular season. Oxford United were away to Exeter City. It all came down to this, Oxford United fans. We started the day outside the playoffs, looking in, hoping that we could get a result, hoping that results would go our way. We needed Lincoln to slip up against Portsmouth or Barnsley to slip up against Northampton. And more importantly, Oxford United needed to win the game. And thankfully, unbelievably, all of those things happened. Lincoln lost to Portsmouth, Barnsley drew to Northampton, and Oxford United beat Exeter to mean we ended the league season in 5th place, jumping up 2 places on this final day. It finished Exeter City 1, Oxford United 2. Just want to shout out J Butler Productions for coming up with the nickname for Des Buckingham. I rather like him. Hailing him the Desire. I think that's rather good. Feel free to use that one. And also Matt Halsey, Des Buckingham hater, floods the comments with calling Buckingham a fraud. What are your comments on this one, Matt? I'll be interested to see if you do even leave a comment after this one. But you must be happy and delighted, as all Oxford fans should be. But it wasn't without drama. And it wasn't without some edge of the seat, white knuckle stuff as the second half just crept along. But Oxford, for once, ground out a game. But we'll go over all of it. We'll go over the team news. I'll give my match review and I'll give my final thoughts at the end. I did do predictions for this final round for the playoff hopefuls, and I got every single result wrong, and I could not be more happy. But I do leave timestamps down below, so if you do just want to jump to any part of the video, please feel free to do so. I won't be offended, certainly not today. But if you can hit the like button, that does help me out a lot. And if you do like the content, consider subscribing. So let's have a look at the Oxford United team news, and the big news for the Yellows was the return of the skipper. Elliot Moore returns to the side in his usual centre-back role. There were returns to the side for Joe Bennett and for Owen Dale, coming in at left-back and right wing. It meant Sam Long missed the game. He actually wasn't in the squad because of an illness. Greg Lee and Marcus Brown are the other players who did actually get a place on the bench. Looking at this lineup though, it's probably Oxford's best lineup they could pick. So certainly enough quality on the field and at the back for Oxford to win this game. Moving on to Exeter City and Gary Caldwell's Grecian sit 12th in League One. But with nothing to play for, you would think this would be the perfect opponent for Oxford United. But Exeter are ending the season on fire. They were unbeaten in their last 9 games. They were the form side in League One going into this one. Caldwell made 4 changes from the side that beat Northampton 2-1 last time out, and they played the majority of that game with 10 men as well. Ryan Woods was the man sent off last week, so he misses out. Jack Fitzwater, Dion Rankin and Jake Richards also come out of the side. Skipper Piers Sweeney returns. Reece Cole and Caleb Watts and Sonny Cox also come back in. Look, this is a strong Exeter City side, and they want to spoil the party for Oxford United. They want to secure a top half finish. This was not going to be an easy game. So let's move on to the game then, and straight away, good intensity from Exeter. They came out of the traps flying for the first 3 or 4 minutes, nearly caught Oxford cold. Their press was very intense, but they just could not create an opening from it. But Oxford weren't very good to start with, but they did find their feet quite quickly, and it was actually in the end quite a decent start in the opening 10 minutes for both sides. Oxford got to grips with the press and they started to get into some space and knock it around, and when Oxford can knock it around quickly, I feel that is when they're at their most dangerous. Rodriguez and Harris nearly get in behind. It was Oxford's kind of first chance after 10 minutes. It was a nice little interplay between the two of them on the edge of the box, and Rodriguez he should have had a shot on goal really, but he sort of delayed it, and the Exeter defender was able to get back and make a challenge. But it did not matter, because just 2 minutes later, Mark Harris made it 1-0. Sweeney, the Exeter skipper, made a hash of things at the back. He just presented the ball to Harris. Harris was able to race through on goal and produced a very composed finish past Sinisalo in goal. That's Mark Harris's 19th of the season. Exeter are a confident side on the ball, and they were passing the ball around nicely, but Oxford's work rate was sharp, and they were excellent in this first half. Brannagan sprung the counter-attack, forced a corner. From that corner, Kieran Brown sort of diverted a header goalwards. It looked like it was just going to loop into the top corner, but Sinisalo got across and very acrobatic save, clawing it away from the top corner. 30 minutes on the clock and Exeter having their best little period of play for a while. City managed to pass it well through the thirds, got some space out wide to Niskanen, probably for the first time got the better of Stevens on that Exeter left-hand side, Oxford right. Oxford defended the first initial ball into the box really well, but then Rodriguez was slack on the edge of the box, presented a shooting chance, which Oxford did well to block it behind for a corner. But Oxford were looking slick in possession as well, and on 38 minutes, Oxford made it 2-0. Brilliant pinpoint ball from Cameron Brannagan, gets Murphy away on the left-hand side. It was the first time really Murphy got into a bit acres of space. He got into the penalty area. He had the beating of Aimson, who could only chop him down in the box. Stonewall penalty. Oxford get given it for once. Brannagan steps up, drills it into the bottom corner. Branners is not going to make the mistake from there. Oxford in dreamland, 2-0 up. And Exeter were really rattled from that point, and Oxford were really pressing home their advantage, and it could have easily been 3-0, but Oxford just could not quite capitalise on the mistakes that Exeter were making. We moved into 5 minutes of injury time, and Exeter's best chance came from when Oxford gave away a free kick on the edge of the area, on about the right-hand side. It was a good ball in, and Aimson got a free header on it, good connection, really should have at least got it on target, but headed it over the bar. So we went in 2-0 up at half-time, and it was all going to plan for Oxford United. Barring a sticky opening 3 or 4, 5 minutes, Oxford I thought was superb. The passing was sharp, the pressing was high tempo, and defensively they looked very solid. Exeter, very enjoyable side to watch. They passed the ball around neatly, very fluid pass inside, but they struggled to pass through Oxford, and they didn't really create any chances. As I say, Oxford did look very solid out of possession, and Oxford really kind of forced them into mistakes as well, and as we know, very dangerous in transition. Results were also going Oxford's way. At that point, Lincoln was 0-0 with Portsmouth. Barnsley were winning at home to Northampton, so Oxford were in the playoffs at this point. It was a hope that kills you as we headed in to the final 45 minutes of the regular season. Coming out in the second half, and Exeter made a couple of half-time subs, and it certainly did make them sharper, and they did start quite sharply like they did in the first half. But Oxford, again, looked quite good going forward, and Rodriguez got into a bit of space in the penalty area. A nice little dribble forward from Rodriguez, squared it to Dale. Dale's shot was deflected behind. From the corner, it looked like there was a handball in there, but Oxford were not given their second penalty of the afternoon. And from this point on, the pressure just started to etch up a notch after notch. It started by hearing news that Lincoln missed a penalty at Sinsel Bank, and just seconds after that, Exeter made it 2-1. Rankin started the move, really. He was excellent when he came on, half-time sub, really caused a lot of trouble down the right. He won a corner, and from that corner, Exeter scored. It was a really soft goal. It was a ball into the middle, and Millenic Alli, who I thought had quite a poor game up to this point, was completely open at the back of the area. It was a good leap by Alli, and it was a good guided finish, into the corner of the goal. Nothing really Cumming could do with it, but just really slack defending from Oxford United, lack of concentration, and Exeter are right back in it. And for the rest of this game, really, Exeter were in complete control of it, and Oxford had to dig in and fight for this victory. The Exeter crowd had this renewed belief as well as the players, but as Oxford did still look quite decent going forward, and you were hoping that they might be able to catch Exeter on the counter-attack. But the more it went on, the more Oxford sat deep, and the more you were just looking towards Exeter attacking the Oxford United goal. 63 minutes, a rare chance for Oxford United. A good move from Dale. He got it into Rodriguez, who had a shot which deflected to Mark Harris. And Harris was kind of rushed on the shot, really. Maybe he had more time than he thought, and he kind of poked it wide, but straight up the other end. A minute later, Exeter swung a long ball from left to right. And Stevens, probably, again, the only mistake he made in the game, he made a mess of reading the ball. He did that the other week as well. And that was his only mistake in the game. And Niskanen got got in behind him, and he sort of hit a shot come cross really across goal, and it went wide, and luckily there was nobody running in to get a tap in. Just 2 minutes later though, and Oxford just looked really nervous at this point, and Rankin this time switching flanks, gliding down the left hand side. He drilled in a low cross which Elliot Moore stuck out a leg, and it deflected onto the crossbar and out for another corner. It was kind of shades of the Sam Long own goal versus Stevenage, but once again Oxford survived. But there were more nervous moments on 70 minutes, more this time nearly caught in possession, but just about gets back to make the challenge on Alli. And at this point I was just really struggling. You've seen it so many times this season where Oxford just can't see a game out, and I was really struggling to see Oxford hold on to 2-1. I was thinking we really needed a third. It was getting to the point where Oxford could barely get out of their half, but the mood from around the grounds got even sweeter for Oxford United as news came in from Sincilbank that Portsmouth had taken the lead. It was all going perfectly at this point. On 85 minutes, a rare attack from Oxford, and Brannagan won the ball in midfield. Marcus Brown got down the right-hand side. Good cross in from Brown, but Josh Murphy in the middle of the goal. He had Harris behind him. He probably should have left it for Harris, and he tried an extravagant, to say the least, acrobatic volley, and it went miles over the bar. At the very least, it took some time off the clock. Corner after corner, it seemed, from Exeter, and Aimson got his head on one of them from close range, and like in the first half, he couldn't get it on target. Another good chance, and he really should have done better. An excruciating finish to the game. 8 minutes of injury time. You're just hoping Oxford can hold on. Generally, I thought Oxford did defend quite solidly. There weren't really too many saves for Jamie Cummins to make. There was pressure, but Oxford defended quite well. The subs came on and made a difference. Oxford did break the play up quite nicely too. Oxford got even better news because Northampton equalised with virtually the last kick of the game against Barnsley. And the game didn't play much over 8 minutes, and Oxford got that 2-1 lead. It then came through that Portsmouth had scored again in injury time, but at that point it really didn't matter. Oxford had got the victory. It meant they jumped above Barnsley no matter what, and we finished. Take a breath and breathe. The roller coaster, even on this day alone, but it's been a roller coaster of a season. But we do have some bonus football, folks, because Oxford are in the playoffs. And that brings me on to my final thoughts, and let's start with the home side in Exeter. In some ways, a really good opponent for Oxford to play. Oxford quite like a side that's going to knock it around on the deck, and Oxford will back themselves to kind of press them and pick them off in possession and score a couple of goals, and that's exactly how we did it today. But I thought Exeter would look really good in the second half. I don't know why Rankin didn't start the game, because I thought he came on and made a massive difference in the second half, just running at pace. It looked like he had the beating of Bennett, although Bennett did sort of get the better of him towards the end of the game. But I thought he was a real bright spark. I thought overall you look good at passing the ball, confident side at passing the ball out from the back and through the thirds, but I thought you struggled to really get through Oxford in the first half. You kind of didn't really have any ideas of how to get from defence through Oxford United's wall of players, and you ended up almost giving the ball back to us time and time again, which is kind of, I've seen Oxford do that on the flip side quite a lot this season, so it's something Exeter need to work on. But in the second half, I thought Exeter really played well, controlled the game for large periods, easily could have got a second goal. Very good showing. You can see why Gary Caldwell's got this side playing some excellent football, playing some positive football, and I would say there's a lot to look forward to from an Exeter point of view for next season. If Caldwell continues to play football in this manner, I've no reason to think why it shouldn't be another exciting season for you guys. But let me know what you think of this one. You absolutely tested us, pushed us very hard in that second half, and for once Oxford were just about able to grind out a game. So good luck for next season. From an Oxford point of view, hopefully we're not playing you next season, because we've got a chance of still going up to the Championship. But if we do, then I look forward to another couple of enjoyable games against you guys. And so good luck for next season, and let me know your comments down below. And let's move on to Oxford United, and straight off the bat, this is a massive credit to Des Buckingham and to Oxford United. Once again, when we're faced with a bit of adversity in the season, we come through. After that Bolton game, once again, we go back to that. That looked like everything was done and dusted for the season. We were never going to recover. So to end up recovering and to end up finishing fifth is a pretty big achievement for this Oxford United side. And to start the game outside the playoffs, I thought the attitude from the players was exceptional today. I thought in the first half, Oxford were great. As good as I've seen them, really. As good as the Peterborough game, but without the finishes. I really thought the game plan was excellent. The players just looked so good all over the field, bar in the first 2 or 3 minutes. I thought the way that they pressed from the front with the likes of Harris and Dale and Murphy. I thought Goodwin Rodriguez was superb in there as well. And just did everything a little bit sharper than what Exeter did. I thought we moved the ball really well. Exeter forced us to play quickly and Oxford responded. And when we're moving the ball quickly, it's really when we're such a much more dangerous side when we're able to do that, rather than just labouring with the passing, probing back and forward. And it's almost like these players, when they have too much time, that it's kind of not a good thing. And you saw sharp interplays of passing between the likes of Brannagan and Goodrum and Rodriguez, and although I thought Dale's final product wasn't great, I thought his industry once again was superb. And Murphy again wasn't great today, but he produces that little bit of quality when you need it. But also on the flip side, that second half we were backs to the wall and we were digging in, and I thought the players did really well. I thought Kieran Brown, I thought that back four in general really, Kieran Brown and Elliot Moore did really well up against the two centre forwards. They didn't really give them anything. I thought Stevens was generally really solid and has been in recent weeks, as was Joe Bennett, sorry. I thought he struggled a little bit when Rankin came on, but I thought he sort of improved as the second half went forward. And I thought that Des Buckingham made those subs at the right time. The likes of Josh McEachran just came on and calmed everything down. I thought Greg Lee made an impact. I thought Marcus McGuane looked pretty good when he came on as well. He won a couple of good free kicks. He drove with the ball forward, got Oxford out of trouble, and I just thought everybody played their part today. And the fact that Jamie Cumming barely had anything to do, despite the pressure we were under, just showed me how, for once, and it was a nice to see, as torturous as it was, we were able to guts out a win and get that victory. And under huge pressure as well. And I know we didn't have any pressure on us going into the game. It's all that mantra of we've just got to do our job, and we did. But the pressure did switch onto Oxford United in that second half. You knew the results were going our way. We weren't in control of the game, but we dug in. We dug in and we got the job done. Yeah, that's what we were hoping for, really, wasn't it? We were hoping we could get a victory and hoping results went our way, and they certainly did. After a disappointing week last week of those two results against Lincoln and Stevenage, I thought that everybody's bounced back really well. And I generally thought if Oxford didn't get into the playoffs today, I thought the way they've played in these final few games, I had a lot of high hopes for next season. Of things have improved under Buckingham, and he's found a style of play. He's got Oxford playing with a bit of bite and a bit of steel, which is nice to see too. But we've got a few more games now to look forward to. 2 at least against the Peterborough side that we have beaten recently quite handsomely. I can't imagine that will have any bearing on the games coming up. If anything, that you would imagine that will be put more fire in the Peterborough belly. But we've got 2 playoff games to climb up against. With 4 against Peterborough. They should be exciting ones. I'll do a preview video for the playoffs coming up this week for both legs. That should get me a few little bonus views. But overall, I don't like to sort of throw around like mincy words, but I am proud of the boys today. I'm very proud of the club in general. I thought they've done a superb job today. Produced a real magical moment for the fans that we'll remember. Hopefully it's not going to be like a stuffing in the playoffs like it was against Blackpool a couple of years ago. That kind of really deflated everything. But a very good achievement, especially off the back of what happened last season where we barely stayed up. It's fantastic to be in the playoffs, and we've got a lot to look forward to over these 2 games. Leave your comments down below. Sorry I didn't get back and reply to a lot of you for the Fleetwood comments after the Stevenage game. I really just didn't feel like it. I think we were all in a pretty kind of resolve to feeling that we weren't going to get in the playoffs. But, I'll be interested to know your thoughts now. Obviously, there'll be a lot of excited people and a lot of happy comments, and I'm really looking forward to reading them as we've got some bonus football to look forward to. I don't have too much more to say. I think I've rambled on enough. I'm freaking delighted. And, we'll go again next weekend for a game against Peterborough. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for following me this season. We've got 2 more games at least to go. And, Come on, you yellows.